Championship. A couple rules of the room before we get started. Media, you know the drill. If you can please state your name and affiliation, as well as once you've asked your question, please pass that mic around so we can get to as many media as possible. Your podium tonight for the premier class, Cooper Webb, Justin Cooper, and Chase Sexton. Cooper Webb, of course, will maintain that points lead. Cooper, surely a win offsets any adversity and frustration from early on in today, but what kind of range of emotions did you experience since this morning?
Yeah, it was an all over the place day. Obviously had that crash there that wasn't great, and luckily was able to walk away. Just bike was pretty mangled, and so that put it into that. And yeah, the heat race just made a super costly mistake and was in a great position and tucked the front in the sand. So I was pretty fired up after that. Definitely want to go out in the main event and get back on point, and I was able to do so. Got a great start, made it happen early, and yeah, it was a great race for me. Led every lap and was able to just kind of ride my laps. So super stoked on the way the night finished up.
Congratulations, Cooper Webb. We'll open it up to questions from the media. Mitch.
Mitch Kendrith, Racer X. We'll stick with Coop here. Obviously, you like being in the underdog role, but you've had the points lead. You've had the pressure doesn't seem to impact you. So what's it like being in leading from the front of the championship versus working your way up through the standings? And just talk about pressure. And again, it doesn't
a championship, and you just got to take that. And I think the positive tonight was I got a great start and felt like put my get out front and maintain the lead out front. I felt really good before all that. And of course, and you're going to have, like what happened today, you're going to have stuff happen, and you just kind of work your way through it. But I strive for these positions.
Adam from Track Talkers for Cooper Webb. Tonight, you got the whole shot in the main event, and you looked very good at the beginning of the race. One of the big things as a racer is that you kind of don't know, because Chase was behind you. You know that Chase is behind you. You don't know if you have that speed, and there's this. Take us through your mental mindset of like, okay, where can I push on this track? Am I going to be able to essentially beat Chase Sexton, and how do I win this race?
Yeah, I mean, I think JB got the whole shot technically, but I was able to get around him super quick, and I just put some good laps down. And then it's one of those tracks where you could override and make some mistakes. And like you said, I have yet to lead from the front and have Chase be second. So obviously we know that his play cat and mouse. He rode all day, and so I think for me the speed, hopefully we can put that to bed, but we'll see.
Jim.
Jim Kimball with Motocross Action for Chase Sexton. Or some type of risk versus reward going through your head with that?
Yeah, in the sand section, I actually had a good line for a while. I was kind of doubling through it, and then my line went away a little bit, and I started going in the bottoms of the sand rollers and just lost the front. It was pretty easy to do, especially when you get down to that clay dirt. So went down, and then after that, it took me 4 or 5 laps to get back to in the groove, because then I had Justin Barship behind me where I had to hold him off. So I got back in my groove, but by the time that happened, it was only like 2 laps to go. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's racing, and yeah, we have a week off to regroup and come out at I think it's Birmingham.
Michael.
Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. This will be for Justin Cooper. We know that you've been building top 4 quite a few weeks. How does the second place feel, especially on a track that was as technical as this? In the last couple of weeks, you caught heat for jumping through the whoops, but that was the must-do line tonight.
Yeah, the whoops were, I wouldn't even say jumpers tonight. It was more about balance, I think. They were definitely the bike straight all the way through, and I think that was kind of the key tonight, was just the mistakes were to limit those, and stuck to the big lines, and that was pretty key. I felt like I was making up a lot of time on the guys in front of me, and kind of flow with the track better and set up my passes. So yeah, overall it was a tricky track and a lot of laps tonight. So definitely had to keep the focus and yeah, lock in for the end of the race. It was getting pretty gnarly.
Dan.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports for Chase. You've had the speed the last couple of weeks. What do you work on over the off weekend? Is it mental? Is it technique? What's going to happen in the next 2 weeks?
I just need a bit of a reset. These last, 4 or 5 races have been hard for me, obviously. It's kind of hard to hide that, but yeah, just a little reset. And typically when I come back from that little break we always have in the Supercross season, I seem to be better. So hopefully can do that again and just put some good races together. Once I get that momentum back on my side, I think we should be good. But like I said, Coop's riding really well, and in that main event he was solid right from the get-go. So I'm going to have to be better and, yeah, just get a little reset.
Adam.
Adam from Track Talkers for Chase X. I really felt like I've seen a little bit of a different rider from you, a more mature guy. I know we've seen in the past that you said that all you wanted to do was win, but tonight it felt like I was like, Chase is in championship mode right now. I know there was a little tip over in the sand, but I think that was a bit of a fluke. Is there a change in your mentality?
Especially, I mean, after the Red Cross flag, where I had to roll the section, it was over after that. Coop had 9 seconds on me. So at that point, I was like, yeah, I'll just try and ride my laps and bring it home in second. Obviously made a mistake in the sand, but it was pretty easy to do. Once I got off that rhythm where I was doubling through kind of like a sand track outdoor race, I seemed to get deeper into the sand, and I was going too slow and fell over. So myself up and just try to claw back and at least get on the podium, because Justin, like I said, was behind me, and AP, and there was a little bit of a train coming behind. So I'm just trying to fight, and ended up third.
Karaya.
Karaya, with Moto Legacy's book series, were there any specific equipment choices or adjustments that made a difference in your performance today? For all three.
For me, it was just getting my marks and getting a good start. And, yeah, we made a small bike change after the heat race, and that seemed to be a good direction for me. But, yeah, other than that, no big changes.
For me, I was struggling right from the get-go today. I felt like I didn't really have a good flow with the track, and, yeah, I had to go with the team, and they made a big bike setup change for me. A lot more comfortable in the rough conditions, and that's where it really mattered. So I give it up to the team for sure for helping me out today.
For me, I was fighting the track ever since really press day, and we made a good change for the heat race and stuck with it for the main, and I felt better, more comfortable. But it was just a tough track. There was a lot of places where you can make a big mistake, and especially some of these rhythm sections that have the big G outs in them, you just try to be on your marks and limit that big mistake that could bite you.
Now I'd like to welcome some questions from our online media, beginning with Brent Bowser.
Brent Bowser, Whiskey Throttle Media. My question's for Coop. Coop, when you got out front, you kind of sprinted away for a little bit, and then Chase gets into the sound. Did you think game on, that he's going to be pushing to the front? And then when you kind of maintained that gap, did you feel good about the speed you had? Because obviously you had good speed tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I knew when he got in a second he was going to definitely be on it. So I tried to just keep hitting my marks. I felt good. I had good lap times, and my plan was to do it as long as I could. And I knew it was going to be potentially a battle once we got into lappers and not making mistakes and stuff like that. But like I said, I felt really good. I felt like I had the speed and the grit tonight to be able to do what I did. And obviously, like I said, he made the mistake, and it definitely opened it up for me, but I was ready to go for tonight for sure.
Congrats on the win.
Jonathan.
Really good job. Question for Cooper. Cooper, do you feel you're the strongest mentally on the gate whenever you're sitting on the line of a 450 main event? Because to come back from those 2 crashes earlier and just ride the way you did tonight was really impressive.
I'd like to think so, right? It's been a career move for me of constant, mentally. I think I've always been pretty good, but yeah, I think I look at those mistakes, and some guys let it affect them, but it honestly pisses. And I ride better, So I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend crashing to put yourself in a good zone, but sometimes that's what happens, and that's what gets the best out of me. So, but yeah, I think for me, it's something that I've been able to do constantly throughout my career is have a great mental block and capacity, and yeah, I think that's a strong suit.
Thank you, great ride.
Alex Gobert.
Yeah, thanks. Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. For Justin Cooper, can you had to fight your way to position for the runner-up result, a good one for the team as well. What can you take away from this sort of result at the midpoint of the season?
Well, first of all, I feel like it's been right there the whole time, and I feel like I had a really good speed last week in Daytona. Came from about 10th, and almost got on the podium there. So everything's been going, I think, in the right direction, and my speed's been there and my fitness is there. I know that. So, I was able to start in the top 5 tonight with, first of all, the heat race was terrible. Side settled the bike and had a really bad gate pick for the main. I think it was like 13th or 14th. So I went to the inside and was able to come out pretty well. And from there, I stalked Justin for a little bit, and was just doing the big rhythms, and I knew he was struggling in the whoops. So, he missed the rhythm before the whoops. I got underneath him and then was able to get a gap on him from there on out. And, just click off my laps. Chase ended up going down in the sand. So, just focused on myself and hitting the lines I was hitting. And I felt like I was, not doing anything special out there, just hitting my marks. And that's what was important tonight on a track like this.
Scott.
Scott Arizona Moto now. Chase, you mentioned the outside line in the sand a few times that you had. We saw VL kind of doing that in the 250 race where you could kind of miss the hole right before the last sand jump. Is that something you debrief with him or the team on right before your main event?
It was. I saw him do it, and then I was like, I didn't really know what line to take in the beginning of the sand, if I was going to go inside or outside, and I asked his brother what line to take when he was at the podium. I was like, okay, I got that. And then, dude, the first 10 minutes, I felt like I was at Lommel. I was doing double, and then not jumping over the wall, but kind of skimming off it. And then that line went away, and then I kind of stuck to it, which I needed to switch. And that's obviously how I went down. But, I asked it. Actually, Tom told me about it, then I asked his brother. And so shout out, Nate.
We've got time for one more. Jim.
Jim Kimball with Motocross Action for Justin Cooper. Can you expand a little bit on, I know you got a podium in the 450 class last year. How's this one compared to that? Stalking arguably one of the toughest riders to pass with Justin Barcia.
I think compared to last year, I think all around I've made the progress, and it's good to see going into year 2. Riding better this year, and I think I've been way closer to the podium spot a lot more frequent. And it came at the last round last year, so been in the podium fight pretty much a lot of these races, and I felt like I should have had one by now, but it's definitely better now than never. And I think just going into year 2, I just have more experience riding with these guys, and Justin was definitely a hard guy to pass and get away from without some retaliation. So made sure I set up my pass, and once I did that, I was able to focus forward and just focus on the track really, because it was deteriorating pretty fast, and just had to like I said, you got to be focused out there.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Cooper Webb, Justin Cooper, and Chase Sexton. And I'd like to welcome our 250 podium up to the stage. In the meantime, as our racers had alluded to, we do have the weekend off. Next weekend in Birmingham, Alabama, will be the following weekend at Protective Stadium. That's going to be March 22nd. All right, And it's my honor to introduce to you our 250 top three, Seth Hammaker, Tom Vial, and Hayden Deegan. And just a few quick notes on these gentlemen. Seth Hammaker, his first win of this season. Tom Vial is unofficially your new points leader, leads by 1 over Max Anstey. And Hayden Deegan has increased his points lead on the West Coast. So we'll start out with you, Seth. All of the changes that you initiated over the offseason, everything you've overcome, this win tonight, where's the career satisfaction?
Yeah, it feels really unreal to get this win at the East West Showdown. It's been a while since I've even stood on the top step of the podium, only once ever before this one. So it feels good to finally do it, and a lot of changes I've made this year. A lot of sacrifice moving to Florida to the dog pound, and yeah, just very grateful and thankful, and one feels really good.
Great work tonight. We'll open it up to questions from the media. Jim.
Jim Kimball, motocross action for Seth. Seth, it was interesting. We did a little interview on press day, and you took your first podium of the year, I think, at Daytona. And and I know I asked you, is the win coming forth? And you said, yeah, it is. Just maybe talk about your progression in the last couple of races.
Yeah, I mean, third at Daytona last weekend was a good confidence boost and to get the momentum rolling. And I feel like the win was coming, but I didn't know how soon, and just needed to keep putting in the work and the time. And it's great to get it tonight. But yeah, just feels really good, and to see all the work kind of that I've been doing in this off season. The start of the season kind of been up and down for me. Detroit was a bummer to get a 7, and on to the next one, and here we are a couple weekends later with 2 podiums.
Michael.
Cool, thanks, Haley. This is Michael with course heading. This will be for Tom Vial. Coming into the weekend, not in the championship lead that you want to be as the defending champion, but you had exactly what you would want at a showdown to happen by finishing on the podium and taking over. So how was the day from your perspective?
Yeah, overall, a pretty good day. I started a little bit slowly in Tampa, and Detroit actually felt better in Detroit, and Daytona was a good, let's say, turning point last weekend. Close to the win, and again this weekend, all main event beyond set. I was trying to catch him, but he was riding good, and track was really tricky tonight. Really easy to make mistakes, so I'm pretty happy with the second place overall, and yeah. We are right in the championships, and that's where I want to be.
Mitch
Kenseth, Racetracks Online. We'll go to Seth. Obviously, I think it was nearly 4 years ago you had your first win. It was your third start. You've had a couple podiums since then, but a lot of starts, also a lot of injuries and missed time in races. I'm sure the champagne tasted extra good, but I guess what's it been like? Obviously, the team's been behind you, but what's it been like? Have you had self-doubt that you'd get back to this position and just kind of work years and everything that you've gone through, and then you made the big changes in the off season? So what was it like? Was there self-doubt that you'd get back to this position?
Yeah, I mean, it always creeps in, but I'm grateful that I have people around me that have stuck with me, and my team with Mitch Payton and the whole Kawasaki crew have stuck behind me. And yeah, it's been so long since I've had my first win, and that was my third race ever that I won, and this one kind of feels like my first one, honestly, because just with how long it's been. And the first one that I did win is kind of came at a surprise, really. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of changes, a lot of sacrifice, like I had mentioned before, with this off-season moving to Florida. So, yeah, I mean, it feels good to see it pay off, and thankful, like I said, to have people behind me that have stuck with me.
Adam.
Adam with Track Talkers for Hayden Deegan. So my brother and I have been talking on the podcast. We got to know, what is the deal with the Chess Pro? Are we making a fashion statement? And question 2, are we going to bring some foam spikes on the side like Pops at some point?
Yeah, I don't know. Just be different. I don't know. I like the chest plate over. We got about 50 star guy. I'm like, no, maybe that's something. I think that's like kind of cocky to pull out the spikes. I mean, I think that's a thing. Like maybe if you were to like win a championship the round early, run it the last round. But hey, it's possible. So we might pull the spikes out.
Dan
Beaver, NBC Sports, sticking with Hayden. Now, granted, I haven't been around as long as some of the other guys in this room, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody ride through the net and still finish on the podium. How did you keep your composure during that and salvage extending the points lead?
Yeah, I know. I was, although I was really riding sketchy the whole main event, I was slowly closing in on Tom just a little bit, and I was like, that quad was helping me inch a little more, and I was like, I mean, I'm just going to keep pulling it out, and I went a little too far into a line that just didn't have any pop, and I remember I just barely got any lift, and I was like, oh, this one's going to be a ride. Cased it, like, rear wheel down, and it just, like, shot me into the berm, and right on over I go, and the first thing I think about is your bars always get stuck in these. So I was like, I took my hand off, grabbed the bottom of that, tried to yank it, and I thought it was going to be, like, stretchy, and it was just not. It was just hard. So I was like, damn it. And I just it was kind of nice that the fourth place was so far back. I was like, oh, we're still in third. Perfect.
Karaya.
Moto Legacy's book series, how did the design and layout of today's track play to your strengths, or did it expose any weaknesses for all three of you guys?
Yeah, the track was very challenging tonight, especially in that main event, just to hit all. And everyone was going to make mistakes out there, but just who could make the least. And I feel like you had to have good technique, be smart, find lines that weren't too deep and didn't have any kickers in them really. But yeah, it was a tough track out there, and the sand kind of played a pretty big factor too.
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. It was actually some big rhythm, the one before the Wolves, that getting sketchy. Like if you were hitting every lap, the rhythm was the last minute of the main event, and we've set like get a little bigger, and yeah, I couldn't close it, so the track was tricky tonight, and it was good for me to finish. Obviously, second, I really wanted to win, and obviously we get another chance next weekend.
Yeah, definitely coming from the West Coast where it's been pretty hard packed. I'm actually excited to get on some ruts. So yeah, this track was nice and it felt good.
Sir.
Aaron Durant with TableOver2.com for Seth. You mentioned the off-season sacrifices. Without giving up a competitive edge, if you could point to one thing through all that's really made a difference for you, what would that be?
I would say mindset and technique that I've worked on, and I've been hurt a lot in my career, and I need to put together a season where I can build off of just good rides, and I haven't been able to put together a whole season since I've started my pro season, and give what the weekend takes or take what the weekend gives me, each and every weekend, and just be smart, stay healthy, and the technique side of things and the mindset have been a huge part in helping me do that.
Jim.
Jim Kimball for Hayden Deegan. Hayden, we all know you want to win. Maybe you didn't win tonight, but you gained points. Is that almost as good as a win?
Yeah, you definitely want to win, especially in East-West, because, you're going racing against all the guys. But, it was kind of like a feeling after the race where I was like, I was bummed I didn't win, but again, I opened the points gap up even more, so it's kind of like a win-lose situation, but I'm happy where I'm at. It was good. We're still building back to pretty strong base, so these next few weeks off for me is going to be really good for me. Come back to the West Coast after that, and just keep building.
Adam.
Adam from Track Talkers for Seth Hamaker. I seen you make a big mistake in that rhythm section, kind of in the middle next to the whoops. Talk about your last 5 laps. I know when you make a mistake like that, you get up to you. But talk about the last 5 laps of like, is it, please don't throw this away, please don't throw this away? Or is it more like just think, this is a big win at the showdown?
Yeah, like five laps to go. Off that. That's it. And then I hit the rut sideways, and I kind of nose-picked the double, so that was a really sketchy moment. Heart rate went to the roof, and I was like, okay, just calm it down. I saw Tom kind of close in on me that lap, and then I put in a few more solid laps, but I didn't feel tired at all, but the a little nerves and the stuff started creeping in my head a little bit when you're like, all right, I can do it. And with how treacherous the track is, like tonight, if your mind wanders a little bit, it'll bite you. So definitely glad I saved that one. And but other than that, I feel like, if you got the rhythms clean, you could put together like some, momentum and roll the track a little bit. But it was hard to find that rhythm.
I'd like to welcome some questions from our online media, beginning with Brent.
Brent Bowser, Whiskey Throwing Media. My question's for Tom. Tom, you've had a sneaky good start to the season, and I feel like the talk's been around, Anstey and Hampshire, and then you end up here with the points lead. Do you feel good? Obviously, you had some consistent starts to the season. You end up on the box tonight. Do you feel like?
Yeah, the goal actually was, I started a little bit slowly in Tampa, and the goal was to start quickly from Daytona. You need to be there from now on every weekend, fight for the win, and that's really my goal. The first two races wasn't the best, but I start from Daytona. This weekend was good again, and we try to continue that way till the end.
Jonathan,
Grady, great job. Question for Hayden. Hayden, you've been probably less outspoken the last couple of weekends on the podium. Is that intentional? Is that something to do with training with Gareth Swanepoel again, or what is? You seem really, really focused just on yourself.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay locked in and keep building, because obviously I want to, be at the top steps. So right now it's just time to grind and get back to that. I mean, I feel like I'm back. I'm pretty close to back to where I was, but obviously there's some things I need to work on. Oh, I just want to win.
Cheers, thank you.
Alex.
Hey, Alex Gobert, motoronline.com. For Tom, it takes to win championships, and you're the defending champion in 250 SX East. What wins going to be between now and the end of the season for you?
Yeah, I actually really want to win. I feel like I was close last weekend and close again. My start have been better. A lot of good guys out there, so if you can start in front, it's a big help. And my start have been good, and I've been close to the win, and I really want that as soon as possible, of course. And I'm gonna and be ready for the next race.
Scott.
Scott Yargo, Moto Now. Seth, being the only 250 rider on the East Division left on your team, unfortunately, is there any additional pressure that either the team places on you or you place?
I try not to let it create any more pressure. I have my job to do, and it's unfortunate that, to lose the teammates. So when I need to, and not try and change my mindset just because, I don't, I'm the only rider on the East Division. Keep my head down and it sucks, shout out to Levi and Cameron. Hope they're healing up and get them back soon. But keep doing my thing and try not to let that affect any more added pressure.
Racetracks Online. Tom, obviously Supercross and MXGP are completely different, but can you lean on your experience as a two-time champion over there? Is it comparable at all, your title defense over there versus over here in the U.S., and there's things that you learn from that you can apply to this, even though, again, I know there's big differences, but can you compare them, and there's the things you learned through that you can apply here?
I think yes, of course. Obviously, when you go to the race, you want to win the race. But in Europe, we go for 20 races. So that's the championships. Here it's half. It's only 10 races. So, like I said, the first two races, I was trying to see how the bike was, or I was myself. But now we have to fight for the win every weekend. I feel like in Europe you can finish third, second, and it's a longer championship. Same as the outdoor. It's only 11 races, so it's pretty short. But I think it can help, but I try to focus every weekend and on myself and not really on others, and it's working great so far.
Thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations. Seth Hammaker, Tom Vial, and Hayden Deegan. Series has a brief recess next weekend. We'll see you in 2 weeks, March 22nd at Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama for round 10 of Monster Energy AMA Supercross. Thank you so much.